Verse 24, Ulladhu Naarpadhu, 40 verses on reality, given to us by Sri Ramana Maharshi. சடவுடல் நான் என்னாது சச்சித் உதியாது உடலளவா நானொன்று உதிக்கும் இடையில் இது சிச்சட கிரந்தி பந்தம் ஜீவன் நுட்பமை அகந்தை இச்சம்சாரம் மனம் இயன். Here Sri Bhagavan is getting to the brass tacks. He is coming to the core mechanism. சடவுடல் நான் என்னாது, this inert body which will die one day, which is made of flesh, blood and nervous system, etc. This body does not say I. Sat-chit does not rise. What is called Brahman is non-transactional. It is unmoving. It is stable all the time. It never gets into any business. It doesn't do anything. It just is. So it does not arise. The body does not say I. Brahman does not rise. Within the limits of the body, to the extent of the body, in between this body and Atma, Brahman, there arises an I. The body does not say I. The Atman does not say I. In between, an I arises. This I is known as chit-jada granti. Not, K-N-O-T, not between the inert and Atma, the sentient and the insentient. Not. A knot is formed between Atma and the body. And this is called chit-jada granti, bondage, which means that which ties you to this worldly life, which makes you take n number of births. This is called jiva, individual being. And this is called subtle body. Physical body we know. What is called antakarana is subtle body. Our mind, our memory, our intellect, these are all part of antakarana, inner instrument. And this is called ego, ahankara, the psychological sense of I, the bodily sense of I. And this is called worldly life, samsara, versus jnanam, versus realization. And it is called mind. So these are all synonyms for individuality, ego. What are the synonyms? Chit-jada granti, bondage, jiva, individual being, subtle body, then ego, and then worldly life and mind. By whichever name you address, it means the same thing. It refers to the jiva bhava or individual sense of I, that I am sentivel. This I operates round the clock. In waking, in dream, and in deep sleep too, in a subtle form. Because in deep sleep, Bhagavan says only Atma is left. But the moment you wake up in the morning, that software which was sleeping just wakes up and it starts functioning. Right. This is one of the most important verses because in the yogic paradigm also, they talk about the rise of Kundalini. And Sri Bhagavan also admits that rising of the Kundalini must be preliminary to realization. He says the yogi may have his own methods of raising the Kundalini. And a person who is on the jnana path, inquiry path, does vicharam. But he says both end up achieving the same result, that of sending the Kundalini, which is nothing but Atma's power, Shakti, sending the Kundalini through the Sushumna there is a tube between our head and the bottom of our spine. There is a tube called Sushumna. And in that tube there are 7 centers called chakras. All of us would have heard of it, right? Right. Here, the yogi would say the Kundalini will rise and reach Sahasrara. Here, the head. There, it is all over, he says. But Bhagavan says, no, it is not over with the energy reaching the head, Sahasrara. It has to go through another tube and reach the Hridayam, heart. That's what Bhagavan has been talking about, right? It is that place where the ego is born, where the limitless Brahman converts itself through chit-jada granti into a little upadhi, this individual being. This way Brahman creates billions and billions of upadhi or bodies, and Brahman gets or creates a knot between itself and the upadhi body. Only then this body can function intelligently, like a live machine, like a laptop. When you don't connect it to electricity, when the battery is drained, when you don't connect the laptop to electricity, it does not function. The same way, unless Brahman enters this body and creates a chit-jada granti, the knot between the inert and the life, between the sentient and the insentient. Brahman is the sentient, and the insentient is this body-mind process. A knot is created, right? Here, Bhagavan has written that chit-jada granti is there. Sometimes he would say, chit-jada granti is not there. Where is it, he would ask. So we should not get carried away by the viewpoints, standpoints. See, Sri Bhagavan has spoken many times from the standpoint of a sadhaka and many times from the standpoint of a jnani. For a jnani, only jnanam exists. He alone is without a second. There is nothing like the body, nothing like the world and the universe. No, everything is not there. Right? But anyway, I would suggest, my thinking goes that let us be neutral. Let us accept. Sri Bhagavan says, chit-jada granti is there, not is there. But the moment you do vicharam, it will get cut asunder. It will snap. The way we pull a rubber band, if you pull it hard, it will snap. The same way chit-jada granti will go. So whichever way you take it, chit-jada granti is there. If you do vicharam, it will go fine. If you prefer to think that no, there is no such thing as chit-jada granti at all, only Brahman is there, there is no tie at all between the inert and the sentient, fine, that is also fine. Whichever way we approach, the result is going to be the same, provided we do vicharam, atma vicharam. We called it with so many synonyms, right? Chit-jada granti, bondage, this individual being, subtle body, ego, worldly life, mind. Call it whatever. You have to trace the source of all this. Of course, it goes by one name only. You call it mind. That is simple. Okay? Which is the birthplace of mind. If we seek the source of the mind, it will topple down. There the Atma is already shining forth. We don't have to, fortunately, don't have to create such a vast, big, omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent Atma. We don't have to create it. If the job is given to us, we are done and over. We are finished. It is already there. Atma is self-shining, self-lustrous, self-luminous. And that alone exists. Advaita Vedanta says, Tattvamasi. You are that. Where? Inside you. Did you open that chamber is the question. Did you travel inside? The mind makes you always travel outside. You need to travel inside. There is an interesting episode. Bhagavan's mother stayed with him for almost 8-10 years in the last phases of her life. And Sri Bhagavan had initiated her, had taught her Advaita Vedanta. Even then, at the time of death, she had not liberated herself. Her vasanas had not been burnt. So Shri Bhagavan had to do it. At the time of death, Shri Bhagavan put one of his hands on her head and one on her chest, and he remained this way for almost 6 hours. And it is recorded that there was a big fight between Bhagavan's energies and his mother's, vasanas, bondage. Oh, I am this little being. I have my sons, daughters, husband, and so on and so on and so forth. And finally, all her vasanas were burnt completely. She became nirmalam. No more dirt, no more memory, no more vasanas. And it was all over. And it is on record that Shankara did the same thing to his mother. He was somewhere in the Himalayas and she cried from Kerala, Shankara. And with his subtle body, you know what jnanis are capable of. He traveled with his subtle body. He came, appeared, and he did the needful. He liberated his mother. This is all on record. This is not my cooking. But chit-jada granti looks very plausible, very sensible, because without electricity the fan does not move. Without Atma, life, this body cannot function, because at one point of time this body, which had been functioning for 70-80 years, falls dead the moment it goes out. When the body fails, naturally the jivatma has to leave the body. Right. So the point here is whether chit-jada granti is there or not. Even if it is there, we don't have to worry about it. That is the point. If you do vicharam, if you trace the source of this chit-jada granti, this jivan, this mind, this inner instrument, if you just search for the source of it, which is the birthplace of this mind, then this chit-jada granti gets cut asunder, cut into pieces. It no longer exists and Atma shines forth. That's all. So, Sadavudal Nanennadu Sat-chit Udiyadu. This inert body, unless powered by something else, it does not function. It does not say I. Brahman does not rise. In between this body and Atma, in between, to the extent of this body, something else arises, pops up. And that is known as chit-jada granti, not between the inert and sentient, between life and dead matter. And bandham, it is called bondage. It is called individual being, jiva. It is called subtle body. It is called ego. It is called worldly life. It is called mind. Let us not bother too much about the synonyms. They don't exist at all if we look for the source. It is like the same as snake and rope. In twilight, the rope looks like a snake. If you go close and see, snake does not exist. Only rope is there. The same way, if you do vicharam and search for the source of this chit-jada granti, this mind, you will come to know that it does not exist at all. It has fled. It has gone. What is left is Brahman. Let us think.